I'm sorry. Two small words in a very common phrase. I'm sorry. Depending on the tone of its delivery, its meaning can be drastically different. I'm sorry. Posed as a question, it can mean a misunderstanding needing clarification. I'm sorry. Spoken gently and filled with sympathy, this is used to convey sympathy for another person's situation. I'm sorry. An apology said with remorse in hope of receiving forgiveness. That one, the particular one given with true sincerity, seems to be the one that people struggle with most. Not only in saying it, but also the acceptance. Being humble enough to admit that one has made a mistake and to own up to it is certainly difficult. But having the grace to hear it and affirm that offering harbours its own challenges. Forgive and forget. A proverb that many are likely familiar with, but I wonder how many have actually put it into practice. Of the two choices, forgiveness might be the easier of the two. Pushing the wrongdoing aside and in the interest of moving forward, it may feel like the best thing to do. But do we forget? Or do we simply stuff it down in the hopes that we may? What's past is past. What's done is done. It's very true. And yet more phrases often lumped in with those previously mentioned. But nearly everything that we do in the present and future is predicated upon previous experiences, so can we ever truly leave anything behind? The concept of apologies also creates this question. Whom is the apology meant to benefit? Is it to comfort the person who's been wronged? Or is it a way to alleviate guilt for the apologist? You may have been told at some point that if you forgive the one that hurt you, you're being the bigger person. That to hold a grudge somehow makes you lesser. But why is it the one who is harmed that must carry the burden? And what if I were to say that the apologist and the recipient were the same person? You. What if the person who most needs your forgiveness is you? Accidents happen. They happen all the time, and everyone makes mistakes. Whether it was an accident completely out of your control or a mistake you had a choice in doing, it happens to everyone. Being perfect is an illusion, and an unrealistic expectation for oneself. No one has ever gone through life never having made a misstep. It's just not possible. Guilt is a constant companion to apologies. intertwined and unavoidable. But just because it occurs does not mean that it has to consume us. Sometimes, when laser focused on a project and working away for hours on end on the computer, when we unplug and walk around the real world, something will happen and our fingers may instinctually move for the undo button. The urge to quickly reset the mishap that has occurred and set things right. But there is no undo button in real life. What's happened has happened, and then come the consequences. I think perhaps that might be the reason that there are so many books and films with stories of time travel. This supernatural ability to manipulate time and space, to aid or prevent events from becoming reality. But this is not a world of science fiction, even though at times it may feel very much as though it is. No. This is a world of actions and consequences. Not to say that they are doled out in equal measure, but spinning and spiraling a web of self-doubt, guilt, and blame is a trap very easy to become ensnared in. Exhausting and debilitating, making it difficult to see anything clearly, and suffocating in feelings of shame. Sometimes the pressure that we put on ourselves is worse than any outside source, because when the oppressor is us, we have no opportunity to escape. In moments like that, I focus on my most basic of needs: breathing. I begin by emptying my lungs of their air, breathe in through the nose, counting for 2, holding that breath, counting for 3, exhale through the mouth, counting for 4. And then I take my usual breath in. I remind myself that I am human, and being the human that I am, I'm prone to mistakes and accidents, and that fact does not necessarily mean that I am lesser. Sometimes a useful tool is to look at your own situation as if you were an outsider. If this incident had been caused by someone else, and they felt and showed genuine remorse for their action, would you forgive them? Then why not offer the same forgiveness to yourself? Don't you deserve the same kindness that you give others? I think you do. If you have the capacity to accept others, then why not accept yourself? It only seems fair that it works both ways. To not harbour any resentment inward. Honestly, that might just be the best gift you could give yourself. is so special. Nothing can change that. Not an accident. Not a mistake. You don't need to hide. Inevitably things may become broken, but more often than not, there is always the chance to mend. It may be challenging. It may take time, but it is possible. Every new day is a new opportunity. Never forget that. Never forget how amazing you are. You're worthy of acceptance, especially within your own heart. So, what if, instead of chastising oneself when making an error, we were to skip past the blame, guilt, or even the apology and go directly to these 6 words? I love you. I accept you. Imagine a world where that was one's inner monologue, daily. It may sound wilder than any science fiction, but what a wonderful world it would be. So, when the next hardship arises, I hope, instead of becoming your own enemy, you become your greatest ally. Because with love on your side, you're never alone. You know the phrase, me, myself, and I. And I